we just took a look at attribute directives, which allow us to, just like you showed, very easily set things like classes and so forth on an element. But is there another type of directive, maybe like, oh, I don't know, say a structural directive?
Absolutely, there is. And it's actually called structural directive.
Weird.
Right? Awesome. So there are two notable structural directives that I'll show. And of course, you can create your own custom directives that you can do your own kind of process or whatever it might be. But the two we'll look at is the ngif and the ngfor. And if you have looked at Angular 1 already, you'll probably be really, very familiar with ngif. ngfor is also what you probably know of as ngrepeat. But let's take a look at each of these real quick and show their simplicity and their feature. So ngif is simply going to either hide or show that element. So again, if I set a variable to I'm true and set it to true, I can set ngif for the variable I'm true. And since I'm true is the value of I'm true is the boolean of true, that element is going to show. The moment I change that to false, that element is going to hide completely from our template. So it's a way for you to show and hide different parts of your HTML, of your template, as different things happen on your website. Very easy, very simple. It's a very nice feature. And the next one, again, you're probably very familiar with it. It's a little different syntax, but it's the same concept, is the ngrepeat. Now, the ngrepeat is used, if you use jQuery, is the .each kind of function. It allows you to take an array of multiple objects or strings or numbers or whatever it be, and it pulls each one out of it and repeats that line for each one of those. For example, we have here an unordered list with a list item, and in the list item, we have an ngfor. And the syntax here for Angular and for TypeScript is we can let task be a variable of whatever task's the first element of the task's array is. So in this case, first task. So the first list item we will have is we will print the task, which is the string of first task. And then this list item will repeat a second time, and it will pull out as the variable task being the second part of that array. So second task. So essentially, we'll see an unordered list with two list items, first having the first task and the second one having the second task.
Okay, and so when I look at your HTML there, I'm seeing UL, and then I'm seeing the ngfor on the list item. So it's the list item that's going to be repeated multiple times. That's interesting, because I know in certain other places, it's not the list item, or it's not the actual element itself, but it's what's going to be inside of that element that winds up being set up. So for example, if we take a look at knockout, and I was going to do that, if we go back to the code real quick, in knockout, what I would actually do is I would set up for each binding, same concept, but I would actually do that on the UL tag and not on the LI. Here, I do that on the LI. So whatever it is that I want to be repeated, that's where I put that for binding.
Exactly. And to even touch even further than that, that variable task that we retrieve from tasks is now available between that LI tag. So from the beginning of the LI tag to the end of the LI tag, I can reprint the variable task as many times as I want, or add more text, or add more elements. But the variable task would represent the first part of the array, and then the second part of the array, and then the third and fourth, and however long it may be.
And it also understands the HTML. So there isn't like an end ngfor that if I just simply close out the LI, it understands, oh, okay, this is the only part that needs to be.
You got it. Exactly.
Okay.
Awesome. So I think what's next is show it.
Yeah, I dig it. Let's get in and take a look at it.